mean, speaking about how movies are taking shape these days, I mean, thanks to the intervention of social media, at least, there's a lot of historical inaccuracies that are being pointed out. And in the disguise of artistic freedom and freedom of speech and expression and whatever you may call it, a lot of historical inaccuracies are being glorified. I mean, I won't take the names of many of these movies, but there have been some of the biggest blockbusters in India, and when there is a reaction to that, you label that certain community as being intolerant, you label that certain community as being opposed to certain fundamental rights. So, how do you view a lot of these things happening now and the intervention of popular lot on social media?
See, I am against censorship. In principle, I hate it. I think you should not have censorship. I think what you can have is law. If you do something that is really offensive, you put the person in prison, you have clauses in law for it. I don't think, a bunch of people should sit and say this is fit for public viewing. I think it's nonsense, I think, you can say even the court is a bunch of people, but the court is guided by constitution and the law and by precedent and all that. But what happens with censorship is that you do it in a partisan way. When the liberal governments were there in India, if we have to consider the Modi government as a non-liberal government, when the liberal governments were there in India, they have banned many books and many movies. In Karnataka, when the Siddaramaiah government was there, they banned 2 books by Kannada authors. Now, if you ban Wendy Doniger's book in India, Wendy Doniger's book can continue to be on the New York Times bestseller list. But if you ban a Kannada book in Karnataka, what will happen to those authors? So I don't think these people are per se against censorship. Even now, that the state is that the center is moving some laws, amending the laws concerning cinema, and they're removing the right of appeal. If a film has been banned by the censors, they could go to an appellate tribunal before, or a panel before, but that has been scrapped, and they're very upset with that. But you see, they don't ask for banning the censor board itself. I'm saying do away with the censor board. Why do you want to be regulated? But these people want regulation because they're hopeful, and why not that they'll come back to power one day and they can continue to ban other political views, or historical distortions that don't appeal to them. So this is what it is. So I'm against censorship. I think you should remove censorship altogether, and it doesn't make it any better to do retaliatory censorship. Okay. Having said that, I will say that the history project in India also has suffered from exactly the same thing I told you about the artistic project, that the state picks up people they think are historians, and, they get validated somewhere else. Okay, some Indian historian gets validated, let's say in California, or in Chicago or someplace like that. And, you'll say that, this person has been validated by some top university in the West. So this guy's a top, or this lady is a top historian. One of the great books of history that India had, The History of British India, written by the father of, the philosopher John Stuart Mill, James Mill. That history of India was written without him ever stepping into India. Right. It's like, Max Muller, who is the great authority on the Vedas and Upanishads and so on. Although all these existed not really as writing as much as in discourse, in Maukika, as we say, in the oral tradition. He never came to India, but I never met an Indian scholar. And this is what we got, remember, this is what we have inherited. Even in the early days of independence, this is what we had. You never looked at your historians, people who knew your stuff. So these people are considered great historians by whom? By themselves. This is like the National Film Awards and the National Literary Awards. See, if you do away with state endorsement in these award ceremonies or in these award giving, then actually a lot of it will improve. It'll be shabby and messy, like Indian elections. Imagine if you didn't have democracy in a country like this, what would have happened? So I think that is the problem there. I would really, I mean, I'll request whoever there thinks he's right wing and whoever thinks he's left wing and whoever thinks he's no wing to just leave history writing to people who are interested in history, not people who are interested in Marxism or Hindutva or any other persuasion. Somebody who's interested in science should do science. Somebody who's interested in Marxism should write, maybe a good biography of Karl Marx or something, or some other Marxist. I don't think they should try to write the history of Vijayanagar. That's what I think. I'm not going to ban them, but I certainly don't want my money paid in taxes to be given to, to fatten their bums. That's what I'll say.
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.